Don't really feel like a bad bitch without my acrylics. Hello guys and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I've been meaning to film this video for ages. I know I said on my first video, like on my part 1, that part 2 would be up the following week, but I don't know why I've just been putting it off. I think I've got to be in like a certain mindset to film, like a chitty like a chatty video like this one. So yeah, here it is. We have a part 2. It's all written down on my benefit contract, but you know, don't need that anymore. So yeah, I just want to say as well, thank you so much for all of your support. I've had, oh my god, you don't even understand how many messages I have had since I uploaded part 1, but the amount of messages I have had from you guys and the amount of support, it's just been amazing, and I'm just glad that I can sit here and I've got a platform like this that I can sit here and share my story with you guys on. And yeah, and I encourage everyone else to do it, so thanks guys. I just wanted to say thank you for all of your love and support and every single message. I'm still actually replying to them because I'm really bad at replying to messages. Every single message has literally gone such a long way, every single message. So yeah, thanks for that guys. If you haven't watched part 1, I'll link it. I think it's here. I think I'm linking it there. Pretty sure. Or am I linking it there? This just obviously won't make sense. So make sure you go and watch part 1 and then come back and watch part 2. End of part 1. So obviously I decided to take myself out of therapy for the first 4 to 6 months. I was absolutely fine, you know, like everyone gets their down days, but I was pretty much fine. Like I said, I just got on with Josh, so you know, honeymoon stage and all that, you know, life couldn't really be better. And I'd literally just gone from this absolute state where my mind was in a state, my life was in a state. I was just, I'm sorry, but can we just talk about the fact that I don't have any acrylics on? Look how small my hands are. Like, am I okay? Just ignore it because I'm trying to be that gel gal, but I'm not sure how well it's gonna go. Oh, I need to stop going off on a tangent every single time I film a video. I start talking about something and then I talk about something else. Where was I? Yeah, so life was a state. Anyway, literally within a couple of months my life had flipped round drastically, and I had this amazing boyfriend. My life was amazing. I had some amazing friends and I couldn't feel more happier. I generally couldn't. Then I started to go downhill. Not downhill, like I started to have my down days again, which everyone does have, but like I think because I was so used to being so happy and for so long, for like 4 to 6 months, I literally didn't have a down day. When I did get those down days, I was kind of like, am I like slipping back into it? Like, am I always going to feel like this? Oh my god, like I knew this would come back kind of thing. And I was just like, no, like this time I'm gonna cope with it differently because I've been taught how to cope with feeling like this, basically. Because I had, my counsellor / therapist taught me how to feel happy and how to cope with situations. It's not like, he's not saying like, this is how you don't feel depressed, because you will feel it, but it's the way that you go about it which will make you feel different in the end. I hope that makes sense. For example, I didn't sit listening to sad songs like I would before. I wouldn't sit there thinking, why am I so sad? Like, my life's never going to get better. I know I'm always going to feel like this. Everything's shit. And then I start thinking about everything that's gone rubbish in my life, even if it was like 6 years ago when my dog died, something like that. That was what I used to do. So instead I just sat there and I was thinking about positive things, and I listed on my hand 5 good things that were in my life currently, when I used to sit there and think about all the bad things and count on my hands all the bad things. So this time I just flipped around what I like done the opposite to what I used to do. So I was like sat there saying, I've got a lovely boyfriend, I've got a lovely group of friends, I've got a lovely family, you know. I just used to list them all off on the, you know, on my hands. Yeah, got myself in a positive frame of mind where I told myself it's going to get better and change whatever it was making me feel like this. Like, I can't remember exactly at the time why I started getting upset again, but I would just change it. And I know that's like easier said than done, because sometimes you can't change things in your life that are making you upset, but you can just change the way that you think about them. When I was in therapy, Simon, my counsellor made me draw my version of happy, and then he made me draw my version of anxiety and depression. And he emailed me across the photo of what we called happy. And I remember it now. Actually, I'm going to see if I can get the picture up of my version of happy. I don't know if I can, I don't know if I can even, I'll find it, like I can find it if I go on my laptop, because I seen it the other day on there and it literally just made me so happy looking at this picture of like, I remember exactly what it was. It was like a massive scribble. I wonder if I can draw it for you guys now. I'm just going to draw it for you guys now. So it was like, it didn't look like that, but it was like bright pink, it was bright green, it was bright blue, you know, it had like loads of different colours on it. And then my version of depressed and anxious was literally black, and it had like a sad face. And when I drew it, he said to me like, you're the only person that has drawn the exact same image, but one of them's colourful and one of them's dark. Most people draw like this like dark like scribble or this dark hole, and it's messy and it looks horrible, and then someone will draw like I don't know, for example, like a square that's like, you know, all neat and it's bright and it's colourful, and that's their version of happy. And I just said to him, well, because I'm such like a crazy person, I'm always going to be like all over the place. I don't want to change that about myself, because, you know, you can't change everything. And I just said, I just want to be bright and colourful and happy. I want to be bright, colourful and happy and crazy. I don't want to be sad and dull and crazy. And he was just like, do you know what, that's a really good way of thinking about it, because you don't want to completely change you as a person. You want to keep your personality, but you just want to make yourself happier instead of change yourself completely. So I kept looking at that picture and I was just like, do you know what, like, I've come so far from being the person I was and from where I come from, and if I can get over being sad every single day, and then I'm strong enough to get over like having these little blips every now and again. Other ways I coped with it as well is when obviously I was in therapy, he taught me how to do this thing called 7-Eleven. I don't know if anyone's heard of it or if he just made it up, because every time I've told one of my friends to do it, or like my sister or something, they're like, what even are you? Basically 7-Eleven was breathe in to 7 and count out till 11. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So just take deep breaths, and it actually works. Like you just sit there and be like 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, I look weird, but that's what he told me to do, and I actually think it works now. So I don't know. So I just kept doing 7-Eleven, and like everyone that like comes to me upset now, I'm like, do 7-Eleven, do it 5 times. If it doesn't work, then do it another 5 times. If it doesn't work, then you'll probably end up in A&E because you can't breathe anymore. No, if you just keep doing it over and over and over again, you probably sat there thinking, oh my god, what am I doing? And then you just forget about why you're sad. But like, I think taking deep breaths in and out is actually very underrated. Like, I can't take myself seriously, but I think it is, because it does help you so much, because you just get a chance to breathe. So when I had an iPhone, and when I was in therapy, he made me download loads of different apps for like anxiety, and there was an app called like, I can't remember, it was like taking a break. It was 1 minute out of your day to just sit there and just breathe in and out and just do things to relax yourself for 1 minute a day. And so I done a lot of those, and I went on a lot of the anxiety apps as well, so I would definitely recommend those. I'll see if I've actually, they should be on my app store history, shouldn't they, because I don't have them anymore. But sometimes, like, instead of having the apps now, I'll go onto YouTube and type in like spa music, or like spa music by the beach, or like the sound of waves or something like that, and I just sit there and it really relaxes you. And doing yoga is actually really good as well, because it doesn't only relax your body on the outside, it's like a mindful thing. So what were the apps? They were like little blue apps, weren't they? Okay, here we go. So I'm just going to show you them here. So the top one is panic attacks, deal with panic attacks, and I don't know what that says. Panic attacks, and it doesn't say the rest. But that's the top one, so it's just got like a smiley face. And the next one is self-help for anxiety management. And then the next one is anxiety relief hypnosis. And I think this was my favourite one. Look, I downloaded them on the 5th of May 2015. That is actually crazy. Like, what the hell, that's so long ago. But ooh, they also really help, so that's another way of really helping. I've just gone on a massive tangent about like how to help yourself. Like, this video, this was meant to be for part 3, yes, but I'm just going to include it anyway. But yeah, I think one of the biggest things as well with counselling, people don't want to go because they don't want to feel like they've got something wrong with them or like they need help. And that was me. Like, I was like, I'm not being one of those people that go to therapy. Like, no way, like, I'll be fine. But like, looking back on it now, even if I like sorted myself out on my own, I wouldn't be able to give the advice that I give to you guys and to other people without, oh, I almost said his name. I'm not sure I should say his name, without Simon's help. I think I told you his name anyway. That was my counsellor's name, Simon. Without Simon's help, I would not be able to give the advice I give, to be able to deal with situations the way I do if I didn't go. So I look at it more of like, oh yeah, I did go to therapy because I was depressed and had anxiety, but then I also went to learn more about myself and learn more about like a coping mechanism and learn more about life and feelings and things like that. It might sound like really stupid, but that's the way I look at it now. Like, I don't know, I just I'm so grateful for the fact that I did go. Like, I'm so happy that that was a part of my life. I used to, when I first left, I used to look back at that. Why am I starting to cry? I used to look back at that and be like, that was such a tough time in my life that I had to go to therapy. I actually ended up there because it just things gotten too far. But now I look back at it and I'm like, that was the best time of my life because it taught me to cope the way I do now. And it taught me to be the person I am now, and it just taught me so much about not only myself but other people and feelings and mental health and how to deal with it properly. And I'm not going to say this way is going to work for absolutely everyone because I don't know, it's only worked for myself, but I'm 100%, well, I'm 99% sure that it would, but it's not going to happen overnight. So if you're sat at home now and you're depressed and you think, all right, I'm going to start thinking positive, I'm going to download all these apps, I'm going to draw down my version of happy and sad, it's not going to work overnight. It's not like that. It took me years, and I never ever thought I would be this strong about it. But yeah, I am, and I just, yeah, it's definitely something to get into. Also, obviously, private therapy is expensive, and that's another reason why people don't go to counselling, because it is expensive. But they do free sessions, CAMS, I think it's called CAMS. Yeah, CAMS, like CAHMS, I think. But that's free. That's funded by the NHS, I'm sure. And I think you can just go to your doctors and say, like, I want to go to CAMS, or you can get in touch with your school or college, or I think your parents can probably ring up, or you can ring up yourself. I know that they probably only do it for about 6 to 8 weeks or something like that. Might actually be longer. Yeah, actually, I'm pretty sure I know people that have been in for like quite a while. But so there is free options, and also now as well, also like mental health helpline like numbers that you can text when you're feeling down. It can be like 4 o'clock in the morning, you can text them. I don't know if you can ring them, but I definitely know you can text them saying that you're feeling down, and someone will be texting you back. So that's actually a really good way as well of like getting help. Especially if you're one of those people that are so anxious you don't want to like talk to them face to face. I kind of had no choice. Like, if it was my choice, I wouldn't have ended up in therapy, but because my dad made me go, that's how I ended up. I was shitting myself and I met a stranger. I didn't want to meet him. You know, I was just, I'll get to that part in a minute. Let me just finish what I'm saying. But yeah, about the mental health number, it's definitely a good idea, and if I can find like the links to it, I'll link it below for you guys if any of you wanted to, like, you know, text them one night or whenever and one morning saying you're down. I'm pretty sure there is someone that will text you back, so I'll try and find you that. So going back to when I was saying how anxious I used to be about meeting new people and things like that, I would not meet anyone new, never. Like, I wouldn't go for job interviews. Like, if someone was like, come for a job interview, I would just be like, no, I'm not gonna, I just don't need, I'm not doing the job. Because don't get me wrong, I still get really anxious now as well. Like, I think that's just normal though, but I keep pulling this down. It's because I've tied it up, like trying to look cool. No, yes. Yeah, like back in the day, I wouldn't get on public transport by myself, and I still don't. I've done it like 3 times. I've got on a train by myself 3 times in probably the last 2 years. Still hate it, but I've done it. I've pushed myself into doing it. I used to hate going clubbing, and I mean like hate it, or like going out for drinks with my friends. I would just want to go home immediately, but I forced myself into doing it, and now I'm a little party animal. So sometimes you do have to push yourself. And back when I was in that obviously bad frame of mind, some of my friends, like I know one of my best friends, Talia, was like, you need to push yourself, Yaz. And I was just like, look, I know, like, I know my anxiety and how to deal with it, and if I push myself I'll end up worse. And I was in that frame of mind. I was always thinking negative, and I was just like, look Talia, I know I'm going to end up worse, so there's just no point in like pushing myself out of my comfort zone, because it's just going to end in tears. And she was just like, yeah, okay, fair enough. But now, like don't get me wrong, sometimes I still go out and I push myself to go out. Well, actually I quite like going out now. I get excited to go out, but I'll go out and I'll get like I'll have an anxiety attack, and I'll be like, oh crikey, what's going on here, girls? So I still get anxiety. I'm not saying it's completely vanished, because I'm still suffering with it. And sometimes I still suffer with depression, just not really that often. But yeah, like I would never go on public transport, still don't, but I probably do push myself a lot more than I used to. Like I won't go on a bus still. I don't know what it is, I just will not go on a bus. But before, I never used to get in a taxi by myself. Now I do that all the time. I'd never go on a train by myself. I've done that, like I said, about 3 times. I wouldn't like walk into town alone to grab some things from like Superdrug or whatever, or Tesco. I wouldn't do that, but now I do that all the time. I'm always going in town by myself, going shopping. I wouldn't like order takeaways. Like I'd make someone else ring up. I don't really have that phone anxiety that much anymore. I'd go in some McDonald's or whatever, and I'd be like, Josh, you order, or we'd be sat down having a meal and I'd be like, can you go up and order? Now I don't really mind doing things like that. But yeah, I originally went to therapy about my depression, and then when I got there I learnt a lot of my depression was anxiety, which I didn't really, I don't know, I just didn't really, I think I knew what it was, but I just didn't, because like when I went to the doctors originally, they just kind of said to me, yeah, you've got depression. They never really spoke about anxiety, and I just kind of always like blocked it off, because I thought, oh, I don't have that, so I'm not gonna like educate myself about it, kind of thing. But then when I was going to my therapist, Simon, he basically just said to me, a lot of this is actually anxiety, and now that's the one that I suffer with the most, is anxiety. Don't get me wrong, I still do suffer, but nowhere near as bad as I used to. And I think that is all down to the way I cope with it. Instead of, like, I think I would suffer with it just as much as I do, even if I coped with it in a bad way. But because I cope with it in a good way, no, I don't think I'm making sense here. Yeah, because I cope with it in a good way, I feel like I have it less. But I probably have it quite a bit, but it's just because of the way I cope with it. I don't know if that makes sense. I really hope it does, because it's quite a good point to get across. He basically just educated me about anxiety, and yeah, that kind of didn't make me feel any better that I had now had 2 mental health issues. But, oh, for God's sake, every time someone walks in that door, my dog barks as if we're about to get robbed. It's your mum. Don't be afraid if you do go to like a therapist and they do like say to you, oh no, like you haven't got anxiety, you've actually got depression, or vice versa, or like maybe you've got bipolar or something like that. So as soon as I started treating myself for like anxiety and not just depression as well, I felt a lot better because I was doing it the right way. Do you know what I mean? I've kind of like moved out of centre, haven't I, here, sis? Don't get me wrong, it's not all amazing going to counselling every week, and I never looked forward to it. Like, I would miss so many sessions as well. Like, I just wouldn't, I feel really bad now obviously because I'm like grown up and that, but I would just miss sessions, or I'd like text him like an hour before, like, I won't be at session tonight, or I just wouldn't even text him, and I would just say to my dad like, oh no, like I'm not going tonight because he's busy. Or I would just say to him like, Dad, I don't want to go, like, because it is draining sometimes going there and talking about a load of stuff that makes you upset, and then you have to get home. And to be fair to my mum and dad, they never once asked me, what did you speak about? They would always say, all right, have a good session, and that would literally be it. They never ever once asked me, and I respect them a lot for that, because that would make me feel really awkward, but they never ever once did. So many sessions, I probably missed about 7 or 8 sessions, and the thing is you still have to pay even though you missed the session, so I don't think my dad was very happy about that. But like I said, and especially if you come home from, if you go to therapy, like you're coming home from college or whatever, and you're in a good mood, or you're in a good mood that day and you're just like, oh, now I've got therapy, I've got to sit there in a room talking about my feelings and things that make me upset. You don't want to go, and that's totally understandable, and your therapist will understand that, but you've got to go there and say to them, look, I don't want to come, I didn't want to come today because I'm actually in a really good mood. Or, you know, I didn't want to come today because I find it too draining sometimes. And, you know, they know that. You're not the only one that's going to feel like that. And I used to feel like, oh, like, does he not ever get other clients? Because I'm not saying he didn't understand why I used to always cancel on him, but he'd obviously get angry, and I didn't understand that back then. But now I do, like, that's his business, that's his job. He had clients booked in, basically me booked in, and I just wasn't going to turn up because I couldn't be asked, basically. So you just got to open up to them and just, you know, say, look, I really don't feel like coming today, blah blah blah, and they'll understand. You know, they've heard it all before. I'm going to end the video here now, guys. I hope you have all enjoyed part 2. I've really enjoyed filming this one, actually. Like, my first video I was a bit more upset, and I think I was worried obviously about uploading the content as well because so many judgmental people around, but now this video I feel really like positive about it. So yeah, just let me know obviously if I've helped you in any way, shape or form, or if you do want any advice from me. Obviously I'm not a counsellor or a therapist myself, and I'm not saying my advice is really good because it might be absolutely terrible, but I'm just going obviously on what I've been through and the way that I see things now. And yeah, if anyone does ever need anything, just remember I'm only a message away, and I'll always be there for all of you guys. I will see you guys in part 3, maybe part 4. Don't know if I'm going to do a part 4 because there might not be enough things to talk about in part 4, but if not, I'm definitely going to do a part 3 because I'm not finished yet. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys!